Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United and the New Mexico Runners. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Joining me this evening, Jacob Terrell, Earl Nieto, and joining us back finally after too long of a break, I say, Christina. Welcome back, Christina. How are you? How is your time away? How's everyone doing?
Good. It was very busy, but in fun ways. So, going out of town and going to concerts, and now just getting back into the swing of normalcy.
Yeah, I always find it's hard to come back and then get out of vacation mode and try to be normal again. And what's something that you do to kind of like ease back into the routine?
Sleep a lot.
Okay.
No, I'm just a grin and bear it. Just all right, here we go again, jumping back into the rat race of things. But then also just trying to have balance too. So making sure I go to the gym, making sure I like getting good sleep. But I always say it feels like you need however long you're going to be gone or on vacation mode, you need that much time to prepare, and then you need that much time to recover. So it's almost like you need, I'll just work 1 week out of the month.
That's not a bad idea to look at it, because I mean I know you have children, I have children, Jacob does, Earl does now too, so we can say Earl is part of this conversation as well. When you're planning for a trip with kids, it always seems to take far longer than going by yourself or just you and a partner or whatever the case is. So
that's not 100% true, because as many people know, I'm not allowed to leave the state. I'm lucky to leave the county.
You could still go to like Alamogordo or something, like get out of town.
Something about an ankle monitor that somehow fell off. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to incriminate myself here.
Well, we are certainly glad to have everybody back. It's been a busy week for New Mexico United, a bittersweet week, if I dare say so. Obviously, New Mexico United did clinch the top seed in the Western Conference, but it came at a cost. It was not a pretty week of matches for the club, and I mean, let's jump right into it. Wednesday night, Phoenix Rising at the Lab. Those of us that were on the show, predicted a win for United. We thought we were going to walk in, walk out, and make sure that we had clinched this spot at home in front of the supporters. But it didn't quite happen that way. So, I mean, let's just jump right into it. I mean, what happened on Wednesday? What went wrong? We just didn't look good against this rising team that arguably was hungrier.
Well, they're on the line, right? So they gotta put up or shut up. Oh, now I caught the first half on my phone, waiting for the concert to start, and then the second half started and cell service kind of cut out. So I was real sad to see the end result after halftime, because I'm pretty sure we were up 1-0 at halftime. At least when my cell service cut out, we were still up 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it was an odd night. I mean, Jacob, what was your takeaway initially? And quickly, Harry, safe driving, man.
Harry, I miss you, Harry. Yeah, so I thought the first half we looked really good. We looked fairly sharp. Clear penalty here. Talon steps up and buries it. He's clearly our best PK taker by far. And so we were doing really good. Coach's press conference after the match basically said that the penalty that Hosud committed right there before the second half started, or before the first half ended, really changed the complexion of the game and gave Phoenix some hope, and that's really what it was. So I won't say dominated the first half. I'll save that word for for Tulsa's first half. But we looked really good. We get the lead. They're not really creating anything. And another thing that they said in the press conference that really kind of stuck out was that this is how teams are going to play us now. They're going to sit back and they're going to hope that we screw up and they can counter or do this right here. And so we have to be smarter. We have to be more disciplined with when we have the ball. And when we get in situations like this, Hosu, I love Hosu. Hosu, I talked to PJ Hess about it afterwards because I know he understood. I don't think anybody else here is real big NBA fans, but he reminds me of Russell Westbrook when he was on the Thunder. Like 90% of the time, he's the best player on the pitch. And then 10% of the time, he just has brain farts and does stuff that you're like, no. Like if you would just clean up this 10% of your game, you would be at a higher level for sure. And so we just need to see him, stop committing those dumb fouls, not turn the ball over as much. You're going to turn the ball over. It just is kind of going to happen. But if it's not for that penalty, then I think we're looking pretty good. But they get that right before the half. They go into halftime. Our halftime speech was not what it usually is, apparently, and theirs was. And so they come out of the second half and take it to us for a little while. I do feel like we settled down and were able to attack in the second half a little bit, but then they parked the bus and didn't even try to really attack after that. And just shit happened.
All right, so we got to talk about this sequence here.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we do. We have to talk about it. So whatever happened in this sequence here, it starts with a turnover in the midfield. And then you see, Alex come off his line, close down the angle, ball gets cycled around. Now, Alex is normally sure-handed. Bobbles the ball, Talon tries to clear it, goes straight to the Phoenix Rising player. Yeah. Earl, when you saw this on Wednesday, what's your reaction? Did it seem like it was just mental errors? Did it seem like it was, we were playing into Phoenix? What did you see here with the errors that we had?
I don't know. I said it last week. Every Phoenix game that we played, with the exception of the COVID year, with the exception of the COVID game, I guess is what you can call it, has been fierce. And I don't know what that means. It says recording error. So I might not be recorded right now. So that's cool. Jacob, you're muted.
I was just mumbling to myself anyways. It's okay.
But yeah, so like I said last week, every Phoenix match, with the exception of the one, has always been nitty gritty. Well, a couple of them have been not too nice. But the most recent ones have been neck and neck. We play each other so many times that it's not even funny at this point. And I mean, yeah, they got 2 goals on us. I've already said it before. I don't expect us to get another clean sheet the rest of the year. I'd be surprised if we got one, and I will definitely eat that crow. And that's a crow I'll accept for sure. But at the end of the day, I'm still not worried about it. I'm not worried about the result because we were able to do to El Paso what they did to us a couple years back, where they played terrible and got us eliminated. So at least this time we were able to not play our best game, in quotations, and eliminate El Paso.
Well, I think I'd go the other way with that and say, El Paso eliminated themselves based on how.
Well, I mean, yeah, El Paso did eliminate themselves, but we were able to solidify that, and I'm glad it was us doing it and not anyone else.
Mm.
Fair enough.
Also, fuck Phoenix.
That was my main takeaway was the El Paso matches didn't seem nearly as fiery this year as they have in the past. But even with all the new faces in Phoenix and with us, it was still pretty heated down there on the pitch. They were still pretty annoying. That second goal, I was right. I had gone up into the bullpen to retrieve a ball, so I was kind of at a unique angle for me, anyways. And I mean, you could see it coming from a mile away, and then it takes that weird little carom, like it hopped a little funny off the turf, but then also Tambakis was like backpedaling when he tried to catch it, and just shit that you don't normally see from us. It just kind of happens. It is what it is. I mean, like it's almost an own goal. Like it's not an own goal, but it feels own goalish in the unluckiness of it. But kind of like Earl said, like I'm not freaking out. I'm not worrying about it. It is what it is. Rivalry games, especially when a team is pretty much fighting for their playoff lives, much like we were at this point last year when we were able to beat Phoenix in Phoenix. I think it was about the same, like right around the beginning of August or October. We had to win to get in. They might be able to get in without a win, but a win definitely helps them. And so it just kind of is what it is. And it sucked. I hated to drive the 2.5 hours one way to attend it, only for us to lose, but that's the risk that I take sometimes. And sadly, it didn't work out. Luckily, some other results went our way that night, and we didn't quite clinch then, but it set us up for a pretty much guaranteed clinch job on Saturday.
I'm curious how the crowds were.
Did
we get a good turnout?
No.
No, bummer.
You sure? I thought they announced a pretty decent number on Wednesday.
They announced 8,000. Yeah, they announced 8,000. It was the supporter section was full. The touchline was full. The berm was pretty much empty, and like behind home plate was pretty much empty. And so it wasn't. The atmosphere was good still. In fact, I have some videos from the first half where you can hear United chants going and stuff like that. I think the announced and what was actually in there in person are two different things. And I think, we had our own season ticket holder here, Christina, that missed it. Now her tickets got used. And thank you for that, by the way. They had a really good time. But
good.
I think that might have been the case that several of the season ticket holders either were at the concert or just busy and didn't quite make it. But those numbers, yeah.
Balloon Fiesta too, yeah.
But those numbers still count. I don't think the Balloon Fiesta had a glow going on though. I was relatively sure they did not. But so there were other things going on regardless, and I think that did hurt the actual scanned number of tickets. And I don't know what they use, if they used what's scanned at the gate or if they use what's sold.
Tickets sold.
That's what I figured. So that includes a bunch of season ticket holders that I don't think quite made it, and then some people that might have bought tickets and then didn't show up. I don't know, but it was still a decent atmosphere, especially for a Wednesday night. I would have liked to have seen more with it being Phoenix and possibly clinching if we won, but not everybody that lives in Albuquerque follows it as closely as we do, so they might not know the rivalry with Phoenix, and might not have thought that winning the West was as big of a deal as we might think it is. So
just to correct you real quick, there was quite a few events happening for Balloon Fiesta that night.
Well, I know the Pilots dinner was going on, but I don't think they had a glow.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay.
They had a bunch. So Night Magic Glow, Fiesta de los Globitos, which is the remote control balloons, the skydivers, the drone show, and the Afterglow fireworks show.
And the Imagine Dragons concert was sold out. That place was filled to the brim. So a lot of people getting pulled different directions. The kit sold out though.
A lot of contact high.
They did.
I'm excited by that, but also disappointed because I really wanted one.
Well, I heard that the sizing, I got the very last one in store. And I guess the sizing, there were not a lot of options for sizes. So I think a lot of the kits ran smaller.
Yeah, when I got there, I don't know, 6:30ish. The main vendor behind home plate, all they had was smalls, and then the vendor down the third base line had mediums and smalls. I was able to pick one up for my friend Tina down in Cruces, who couldn't make it, but they didn't have anything that would fit me, so I did not get one either. And then I was gonna bid on one and completely forgot.
Well, even all of the players game worn were smalls and mediums.
There were a couple larges.
Alex
looking at
was
the
the only
largest.
one that was extra large.
Yeah,
My sister and I were paying attention to that. So like
yeah, I
you
was
could
too.
tell the it seemed like it was partly based on the size, how high the bids
Yeah,
got.
yeah, that's true. What size? What size do you think Hurst wears? If you guys didn't look,
Small.
I said if you guys didn't look.
Well,
Oh.
I was gonna say small too because I have a Harry kit, and that's small.
Well, yeah, but Harry seems smaller to me than Hurst. I don't like it. It blew me away that Hurst was in a little small kit.
I think he's just tall, and I mean he's very lengthy.
Yeah,
Well, we noted that at the beginning of this year that he trimmed down quite a bit.
yeah,
He wasn't quite as bulky as he was last year. Not that he was large by any means, but he was certainly more. I think he was wider, but he seemed to have slimmed down quite a bit, and I think that's definitely attributed to or contributed to some of his success so far this year. So, now I know everyone says I'm not worried about the result on Wednesday, anything like that, but by the time we move on to the weekend, yes, we're essentially in a position where we're not going to fail to call it to clinch, but still a match here in which United comes out on the road against FC Tulsa. Yeah, we're just gonna jump straight into it. United comes out Tulsa wearing the pink kits on Saturday. And here again in this match, United takes a lead in the first half and then gives up another goal in the second half. And realistically, again, watching this, yes, we look to be the better team in the first half. Control possession, we got the goal. But I'm really not happy with how we played in the second half of this match on Saturday.
Well, even the first half, I mean, we had the possession and we had a ton of shots, but none of them on target.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that was definitely something that we struggled with.
Yeah. I feel like we've struggled with that all season long.
Yeah.
Just
and see, even here at
finishing.
this, yeah, absolutely. And here in this early moment, even before, I think it was 77's last one in, you had 7 players within about, 12 yards of each other. Really locking down that goal area, making it hard for United to get any sort of rhythm, any sort of clean opportunity to try to get forward and take those chances. I mean, Jacob, do you think that's where Tulsa really excelled in this one on Saturday?
I mean, I don't know if they really excelled at anything, if I'm being honest. They parked the bus, which just like right there. We tried to chip them, but that's 8 guys within 5 yards of the 18-yard line. I mean, they were sitting back just like Phoenix did, just like basically everybody that we've played in the last month has done. And that's probably how it's going to be in the playoffs. And so, especially like the first round against a Tulsa or a Phoenix or an Orange County, who we play coming up on Saturday, which I did not put in the show notes. And I just now realized that. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just, we have to be able to figure out a way to beat that. I thought the goal was a very good representation of a way to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we just have to Like their goal, I mean, it wasn't fluky by any means. It was a great finish, but it was definitely against the run of play. I wasn't like thrilled with the way we played in the second half, but we had chances.
Mhm.
And like Christina said, not putting things on frame is going to come back to bite us in the ass. But in the first half, especially, a lot of those were block shots. Like, I think they were potentially good finishes, and the defense just was there were so many bodies there, it was hard to get stuff through and actually on goal. And so I think we're talented enough and have the ability to do things like this when Jacobo scores here. And I mean, Sergio should have finished the other one, or at least got it on frame, and didn't. There was a couple in the first half that should have been on frame that weren't. And at the end of the day, I think they will come when they need to. Like, I think we will find ways to get it done. I know there's plenty of fans out there that don't agree, but it's just, and then their goal comes off. I mean, Rivas has a chance right here to put it on frame, and as Earl would say, Romario Williams did, to the moon. And so we just got to tighten those things up. Rivas, I don't think is the finisher I really want taking that shot. And I think come playoff time, our lineup is going to be a little different than what we've seen recently. And so we can kind of talk about that more as we get closer to the playoffs and stuff like that. But I think we're finding out who, oh gosh, the beautiful finish.
Yeah.
Such a good finish.
Yeah.
I think
There
we're
was
finding
no
out.
stopping that.
Yeah, no. I think we're finding out who's going to be our A+ squad come playoff time. And there's some names that have been playing quite a bit of minutes lately that I don't think are going to be on there. And so figuring it out. We're just figuring it out. And also last year, or let me rephrase that. We've got 2 games left. We could win them or lose them, draw them, whatever. I will ask you guys, do you think form really matters going into the playoffs?
I think we need our guys to be healthy, hungry, confident.
But as far as like results go, do you think we need to be winning going into the playoffs?
I'm 50-50.
I think if they're clean wins or clean losses, like 1-0, 1-0 or 2-1, like the 1-point losses that we've become accustomed to, I don't think it matters. But if they're blowouts, like we saw with earlier in the season, like with Rhode Island and Rowdies, that's when I think it becomes worrisome, because that affects confidence for sure. But I think if they're small losses, 1-0, 2-1, 3-2 in a shootout, then I don't think it matters. It doesn't really hurt.
Say the next 2 games are basically mirror images of Phoenix and Tulsa, and we lose by a goal and we draw, and we play fairly well in the first half. Do you think it matters?
I don't think it matters.
Seth, what about you?
We're playing Orange County.
And
Memphis. Okay. I mean, for sure, Orange County, it's at their home and their backs are against the wall to some extent. Like, it doesn't, they're going to be faced with opponents who are really hungry and have to get results. I'd rather them err on the side of caution, keep everybody healthy, and lose 1-0 than be really, killing themselves trying to pull out a win just for momentum's sake.
Seth, what do you think?
There's definitely something to be said for momentum. You look at, Rising last year. Rising got hot at the exact right time, and they rode that, through the playoffs.
It's interesting that you say that, because that is not the case. Going into the playoffs last year, Rising hadn't won since September 16th.
Okay. Yeah, they got hot like right there and then and into the playoffs and play their way through. So they hit it right where they needed it. I don't want to go into this winless in 5 straight. I think that does have I think that does take a mental toll.
But that's what Phoenix did last year.
This isn't that Phoenix team though?
No, I'm not.
This
I'm
is
not
not
saying...
a team that has lost. We haven't. That's only the second time all season we've lost consecutive games.
Right.
And but again, I don't want to see us going into this. If we lose 4 or 5, 3 or 5, I have a bad feeling about that first round playoff game. Even if it's at home, even if it's against whoever whatever whoever ends up in 8th place. But I think there's something to be said for it. Like I do think that if you get a couple positive results, even a positive result against Memphis there in the last week of the regular season, you have some confidence that what you're doing is working, because we have to figure out how to beat these teams and and break them down and put some goals past them. And if we go, because if you look at these results, again, goalless against Sac Republic, 1 goal against Rising and a loss, 1 goal against Tulsa and a draw. If you go goalless in 2 more matches, even 1 goal in 2 matches, that's not a positive mindset. That's not confidence. And I want our guys to have a bit of confidence heading into the playoffs, particularly hosting a playoff match for the first time.
And I agree with all of you in different ways. I got to think about this mainly because the sky is falling according to Reddit and Discord and everything like that. And so I was curious, like we saw Rising go from the 6th seed all the way to the championship and win it last year. I was like, I wonder what their form was like going into the playoffs. Well, it wasn't good. I'll tell you that. The last week of the season, they lost 2-0. The week before that, they lost 2-1 to us. The week before that, they drew with Orange County 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, and they did have a rather large victory against Detroit, but that was all the way back on September 16th, over a month before the playoffs started. And so that kind of surprised me because I, much like Seth, thought, man, they got hot at the right time, rode it into the playoffs and took off. That they kind of sucked going into the playoffs. And they were locked into the playoffs, I think, before Colorado at least, but like they went in as a 6th seed, so it's not like they should have been resting people. And then Charleston, the other team that was in the championship last year, was basically the same thing. They won the last weekend, but before that, 2-1 loss, 3-2 loss, a 2-1 win, a 2-2 draw. And that takes us back to September 16th as well. So they were more successful, but they still only had 2 wins. They did have a few more goals. And so I do think Seth hit it on the head where I don't really care if we win or lose or draw. I would like to see some finishing boots actually brought out and some goals finding the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
And to give our attacking players that confidence, like, hey, we're going to be okay. And so it's interesting. With the 1 seed already clinched, we don't really need to do a whole lot the next 2 games. And I think Orange County might see kind of a different approach for sure. One thing that surprised me in these last 2 games this week is we still didn't see Vargas. And he still needs
we did.
Oh, did he come
came
in
on?
Tulsa?
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the 67th minute. I think.
He still needs 1 more then. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a start on Wednesday or Saturday.
The player that I've seen question most is when is Abdi coming back? And what is going on with Abu Danladi? Danladi, we talked about him last week, still needs 2 appearances. Do we see token minute appearances, especially given the state of our injuries right now?
No. He wasn't in the 18 on Wednesday anyways. I don't know about Saturday, but he wasn't in the 18 on Wednesday or Saturday. Apparently.
He hasn't been in the 18. I was scrolling through all of to check and see. And I was the one that asked in Discord, like, did they just like wipe their hands of him? Like,
He was
is he even eligible? And
he was
I
there
scrolled for a hot
Wednesday.
minute.
Yeah, he played a few token minutes. I don't know.
I think it was
A
early
month,
September.
a month or so ago, month and a half ago. He was there. I saw him with my own two eyes. He still exists. But he was in a pink jersey and shorts when they came out of the not like jean shorts, not athletic shorts. So I don't know if he's hurt again or what. Abdi is out until the playoffs, more or less.
Mhm.
And
Was he part of the 18?
no, I don't think so.
No.
Because he got hurt. What game was that?
Sacramento.
Sacramento. He got hurt in the second half. It looked like he did something funny to his leg, knee, maybe. I didn't get word on what the injury was, but they're hopeful that he will be back for the playoffs. And so,
Well, take this with
all
a
that I
grain of
heard.
salt. Somebody in the Discord said they texted him and he said he'll be back soon.
I mean, the playoffs are soon, so
Yeah, that's true. Couple weeks. And then
So-
Zico will be back from international duty. That will be good.
yes. And that's another thing that I was talking about with the lineup. Like Zico not being there has clearly affected us in the games that he has not played, more so than I can even explain. Like I love Zico and he's a fantastic player. I'm not sure why him being out of the 18 affects us seemingly so much, at least on the score sheet. So, but he'll be back. He scored today. I don't know if you guys saw that. But he scored for the Philippines today on a nice little play. So whenever he comes back, he should be in pretty good form, I hope. So
And before we get too much further in the show, speaking of players who will not be with us for the playoffs, Arturo Astorga. Jacob and I were talking about before we went on air. Fortunately, the USL Championship went back and re-edited the highlight package finally, because throughout the weekend and into yesterday, the highlight package still showed Arturo's injury. We don't have any sort of official update from the club. However, if you watched the Lions Cowboys game Massacre on Sunday, sorry, Earl, not sorry. There was another leg injury in that one.
I'm not either because it's the Cowboys and I expected it.
I mean, I said it in the Discord. I said it, over on Twitter. I am fairly certain we will not see Arturo Astorga again for the rest of the season. We're going to redo. We are going to wait to see what happens as far as the extent of the injuries. Are there structural issues? Are there ligaments that are torn? Is it, a knee? Is it a leg? Is it, there's some speculation it might have been a compound fracture. But I mean, it was immediate. And if you watched the replay, you could clearly see the injury occur.
I have not watched, but for your viewing pleasure, I'm going to watch it right now. I'm not going to play it on the screen. I'm going to watch
Oh,
it.
good. Okay. I don't want to see.
You can just
Well-
see my reaction to it.
Well, there is a screenshot of it in our group chat.
I saw that. I did see
Yes,
that.
I immediately deleted it.
So
Yeah.
based on that screenshot, and I don't know if you saw the screenshot for Maiden Hutchinson, but looked eerily similar.
Yeah.
So I am not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV, but I would probably like to say a broken leg. And yeah, we won't see him for the rest of the.
I'm actually
Dear.
glad you don't play a doctor on TV because I've seen a couple doctor shows on TV. Like I'm gonna name a few, like The Resident, Grey's Anatomy, New Amsterdam, and those doctors. While you have the beard like them, you're not as cool as them.
Okay, real quick. Fuck Timu Raiden right here. Because it happens. He's down. The ref blows the whistle.
Yeah.
The dude's
he
leg
does.
is sideways. and he's yelling at the ref for
Mhm.
blowing
Yeah.
the whistle. So fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, great on the referee for immediately stopping play on that one.
Oh, now
and,
he realizes it. Oh, now
Yeah.
and he still goes back to complaining.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think the difference between Turi's and the Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah, so Aiden Hutchinson to me looked more like the Anderson Silva UFC leg kick where it broke the tibia. This
Why did I do that
for
again?
Turi looked
Okay, I'm done.
closer
Okay,
to
one
the
more time.
knee.
Somebody I think in the Facebook group who must know him did comment about awaiting the MRI and hoping that it's a dislocation. That's what they're hoping for. So it sounded to me like it was knee.
Yeah. So I had, when I watched it, I went back. I clearly watched the replay multiple times so I could get a screen grab of it. I've certainly seen similar injuries to where something like that is just a severe hyperextension. It could be a severe dislocation. It could be, it could be a compound fracture. We don't know. The club will probably won't give us an actual diagnosis, but yeah, it's one of those injuries that chances are we're not going to see him again this year. And that's why I posed the question: do we see some token minutes for Abu Danladi just to get him playoff eligible? Do we see Jackson Dubois potentially? I think he might still need 3 appearances though. Let me double check that while we're talking. But obviously Vargas is going to get another appearance in the next 2 matches because I can't imagine the club signing him and then not having him get playoff eligible. So I mean, it really was kind of a bittersweet injury or bittersweet week. And yes, we have home field advantage throughout, but now, this is our 3rd, season-ending injury. 4th, I guess, if you count, Dunladi's, hamstrings made of twigs. So I mean, it's really a hard spot to be in. And you look, and so the question was asked, can we sign somebody? No. Roster freeze date is done. The only possibility an emergency goalkeeper situation. There's an allowance from the league for that. We saw that a couple years ago in the playoffs. But we don't have time to sign. The roster freeze is done. We can't sign anybody. We're on the verge as is. So Jackson cannot get playoff eligible. He's only played 2 matches. Marlon does need 1 more. Abu Dhabi does need 2. So that's why I'm asking: do we need Abu Dhabi to get a couple token minutes so we, just in case we need someone available?
I mean, if he's able to suit up and only needs to put in a minute, maybe as a safety net. It seems like a logical conclusion to come to, especially if the academy players who have been called up aren't eligible, if they haven't seen minutes for enough games.
Yeah, the only person that's missing out would be Jackson, and Chris Shakes is playoff eligible despite being only having 2 appearances in the league this year because he's a goalkeeper. Earl, given the state of the club, given the form of your favorite player, Jacobo Reyes, do you see him getting additional minutes here in these final 2 matches? Do you see Dunladi stepping in and taking some minutes away from him? What changes need to be made there?
First off, hi Maggie. We're gonna acknowledge her first. Second off, I don't see Dunladi stepping anywhere without going on injured reserve again. And unfortunately, I do think we see Jacobo playing. Unfortunately, just to get him some time and some kind of keep him confident for sure. Especially with the long stretch that he went without scoring a goal, I think we keep him playing just for confidence sake. I'll admit it. Jacobo is dependable. I don't like the guy, but he's definitely dependable. When we need him in a pinch, he's there. And that's coming from a Jacobo non-Jacobo fan. But yeah, so I think Jacobo does step in and he continues playing. I think we see Brucey. I think we see Vargas.
It was nice seeing Nikki.
It was nice seeing Nikki's turnovers.
I think he performed better than Rivas.
I mean, I'm not denying that fact, like for sure, that fact. But I was kind of yes, I was happy to see Nikki. I was very disappointed to see how many turnovers Nikki gave up. But at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not panicking whether we won or we draw or whether we lost or we drew. Fact is, El Paso was eliminated, which is only Turnabout's fair play for what they did to us a couple years back. And Phoenix is now on the verge of being in the same boat. So, yes, I'm excited for it. I'm more excited to see Phoenix not make the playoffs. And yes, I'm hoping Jacobo plays to keep everyone healthy.
So Earl, you brought up the playoff picture here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Western Conference standings here. Now, the only thing that has been decided.
See, hold on. Before you go further, I want you to acknowledge my great segue.
No, that was great. That was probably the best segue you've ever done. And now you've ruined it by bringing it up. So they have to stop what we're doing and go back and talk about it.
Segue A+.
I worked on that one all day.
That was like a psych out segue.
It was like, hey, I'm going to set up this perfect segue only to ruin it. Just so that you know that I had a segue.
Speaking of segues, have you seen the new ones at the mall? I'm just kidding.
Earl, did they let you out of your house far enough to go to the mall?
I mean, like I said, the ankle bracelet fell off, so I was able to go to. Never mind.
Justin over in the chat, if you got to point it out, did it really happen?
I'm not sure if it actually happened because my computer still says uploading recordings, so I'm not sure if any of my words are being recorded right now. Which might be a good thing because I'm not incriminating myself.
So to the podcast listener, if you aren't hearing Earl when he talks, he's having some technical difficulties. Just bear with him. He's getting there. He's one day.
One day I will be as cool as Christina. I swear to God.
I don't know about that. We'll have to.
But until then, I'll be Seth.
I don't know how to take that. But moving on, over in the chat, our current form might not be great, but it still seems better than what Sacramento is going through in the moment. I don't disagree with that. I mean, winless in 4 or 5, Sac has certainly fallen. Sacramento could theoretically fall as far as 5th in the playoff standings, which, given where they've been all season long, that would be a tremendous fall here at the end. And they're really, I mean, yes, more teams have clinched. Memphis is now successfully in. Colorado Springs is now in, but you still have 6 teams competing for 3 spots. I want to say Rising is safe based off of how they played in recent weeks. But other than that, I don't know that anyone is safe. I don't know that Sacramento's safe. I think Vegas is probably going to more likely end up with the 2 or the 3. Probably the 2 more likely. But when you look at this, I mean, who gets those final 3 spots? Where does Sacramento fall to? Are they able to rebound at these final 2 matches? What are we looking at here these last 2 weeks of the season?
Just looking at this really pisses me off that we didn't beat Phoenix. I really hate that they got 3 points from us and secured that above the line, essentially.
Say it louder for the people in the back. Holy shit. They're a little feisty over there.
You're muted, Jacob.
I'd really like to I think I'd like to see San Antonio somehow eke out Oakland. I mean, Oakland, whew. If you go even further back, I mean, how many is it? 8 or 9 matches that they've been winless?
We can look. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. 6 matches winless. And even then, they've won 2 out of their last 10.
Yeesh.
They beat us in Loudoun, so not a great
That
look for Oakland.
That would be something if they eked out a spot in the playoffs with that kind of form.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing them slip to 8, honestly.
Now, when they beat us, was that
It was in Oakland.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, we played them here earlier in the year and we beat them. But I mean, even
I'd
even if
rather
we beat
face
us-
them than San Antonio.
agreed.
All right, so looking at the final 2 matches of the season for each of these teams, Sacramento has El Paso, and I hate how it does that. I don't know why. Sacramento has El Paso and Colorado. Colorado is going to have Monterey and Sacramento. Memphis gets Phoenix and us, 2 playoff teams. Rising closes out against Memphis and Lou City. And then Oakland has Vegas and Birmingham. And then Orange County has 3. So they have
El Paso,
us, and Hartford. So those are your teams above the playoff line. For those below, San Antonio still has matches to play against. Let's see if it's open up for me. Lou City and Detroit. As much as we would like to see San Antonio get above that line, I don't know that we will.
Oof. I don't know though. I mean, they eked it out against Colorado with their C team.
Mm-hmm. That is true. They were San Antonio was missing a lot of folks. So
They literally called the dads from the stands just to fill spots.
unfortunately, that was not our friend Harry. So Harry did not get to make his pro debut there. Tulsa has Hartford and Monterey, and then Monterey has Colorado and Tulsa. So, looking at the final schedules for these teams, who has the best shot of getting in? Who has the worst shot?
San Antonio has the worst shot.
I know who has the even worse shot. El Paso.
They have no shot, Earl.
Exactly.
I
Who'd you
mean,
love
that's my
to see?
point. That's my point. They have a worse shot than San Antonio.
I think, given where the points are standing right now and the matchups, unfortunately, I think the 8 that are in are probably the 8 that are going to be in come the playoffs. Tulsa's going to have to win 2 and hope some people lose. Monterey Bay is going to have to win 2 and hope everybody loses. And then we talked about you just said San Antonio's schedule. Like, the only thing going for San Antonio is that both Lou City and Detroit are essentially locked in to where they're at. I mean, Detroit could fall, so they probably need to win. But Lou City might take it easy. I don't know. It depends on what they want to do, if they want that point record or what. But there's at least some wiggle room there that might say that they don't play their A team or their B team. And so maybe San Antonio has a chance there. But if you're just looking at quality of opponents, those are by far the 2 toughest opponents that anybody has to face. And San Antonio would need to win plus some luck. And so I think it's probably Orange County, Oakland, and Phoenix in those last 3 spots. Just a matter of how those 3 shake out. If Orange County beats El Paso tomorrow night, then all of a sudden they're sitting above Oakland and Oakland's sitting in 8th, and who knows what happens then. But I think we're probably set on who the teams are.
Okay. Yeah, as much as we would love to see San Antonio, that's one of the roughest ways to end the season. So I just don't see San Antonio making it. So I think you're right. I think we have the 8. It's just gonna be a matter of who finishes where. I could see Sacramento dropping to 4th. I don't see them dropping any farther than that, although it's mathematically possible. Orange County's been on quite a run here. At least 5 unbeaten. And given their end of season schedule, I mean, I think they've got a chance to make a run at this, because they could finish on 45, maybe see them get the 6. But I certainly wouldn't want to face Orange County in the first round. I can tell you that much.
They can finish on 48.
That's right. They have 3 in hand. Yeah, they have 3 matches. So, I mean, yeah, they could probably finish as high as, my guess is as high as 5th, but, depending upon other results. But, if I'm counting Colorado winning over Sacramento, the best they could, I could see Orange County is probably 5th.
I think it's the top 5 or the top 5. And then I think it's probably Orange County, Phoenix, Oakland in that order. In 6, 7, 8. The top 5, I don't know yet. Well, it's probably going to finish pretty much how it is right there. But especially if we want to beat Memphis, then we better hope it finishes how it is right there. But who knows? There's still some shakeup that could happen.
Yeah. Eastern Conference, however, obviously Lou City and Charleston Battery running away with it. Detroit could still potentially fall a little bit lower depending on other results, but Jacob, you mentioned that we've got a bit of congestion right here. Even I guess you could even throw Hartford in there because they do have that match in hand on everybody. So you've got 4 teams on 42, you got 1 team on 40. I mean, who gets out of that slugfest?
Who knows? Who knows? I think there's some 6-point contests in there, meaning they are playing each other. Yeah, so Riverhounds play Loudoun this Saturday. That's a huge one for this. Then they play El Paso. So, granted, El Paso is playing probably the best soccer out of anybody in the West right now, based on form, aside from maybe Vegas. So it's not necessarily a guaranteed win for Pittsburgh there, but they travel to Loudoun, so that's a huge one. North Carolina has Tampa Bay, and then they play Lights, who are going to be fighting for a 2nd seed. So not looking great for them, because Tampa Bay is going to be fighting for, they can still get home field in the first round at least, and possibly beyond that. Who knows what happens? Birmingham has Indy and then Oakland. Oakland's probably going to be playing for their playoff lives. So I don't know. Loudoun gets Charleston, which Charleston's locked into the 2 seed. They can't set a point record or anything, so I wouldn't be surprised if Charleston's not really going for it on the last weekend of the regular season. And then Hartford has Tulsa, Tampa Bay, and then Orange County. So Hartford could be our best friends in certain ways, depending on who we want to see in that 8 seed. And so really, it's just an absolute cluster, and we have no idea. If I was a betting man, I would say probably Loudoun and I'd say Pittsburgh. But Hartford with that game in hand is kind of tantalizing.
Yeah, so here's some scenarios for Las Vegas Lights. Las Vegas can clinch a top 2 finish, so they would get the 2 seed if they beat Roots and El Paso takes some sort of point off of Sacramento. So, I mean, could you imagine Sacramento, who's been in 2nd place for pretty much the entire season, just falls way out? So,
well, let's talk about Vegas for a second. This is the team. I know it's been said 1,000 times already. Laughing stock of the USL for basically since we came in. Mattresses on the side of the pitch, pools on the side of the pitch, dropping money from helicopters, just an absolute joke. like a month before the season started, Jose Batista buys them and becomes the principal owner. And now they are on a run where they have lost one time in 19 matches, I want to say. If I have that right. So this is their last few games. 3-0 win over Birmingham. 1-1 Orange County. 2-1 over Rising. 2-1 over SAC. 0-0 against Monterey Bay. 1-1 Tulsa. 3-2 Orange County. 3-2 Indy. Their one loss the last 2 months has been Hartford beating them 2-1. Before that, 1-1 Detroit. 2-1 us against us. 1-1 Switchbacks. 2-0 Locomotive. 1-0 Sacramento. They beat Sacramento twice. Said Sacramento who? Doesn't even care. Pittsburgh, they beat 2-0. 1-1 Memphis, 3-3 Colorado, 1-1 Loudoun, 3-1 Miami, 0-0 against Rising. They have lost one time since May 25th. May 25th. For a team that was a joke last season and the season before. Like, I cannot speak enough of what the turnaround that has happened there and how incredible it is. And so really that's what I'm watching from here on out, because I don't want to play them. I do not want to play them until the Western Conference Finals if both of us get that far. Like, it is insane to me how I don't know if I've ever seen a turnaround that big. Like, they were by far last in the USL West last year. I'm Dada, remember? I mean, they were like far and away the worst team in the West last year.
Yeah.
And then this year they turn around and they're sitting currently in second and probably the favorite to finish in second. They finished last. Anybody remember how many points they had last year? Anybody want to guess?
22.
It's not Miami level bad. They were sitting on 19 points at the end of last season. The 11th place team had more than double what they had. Monterey Bay finished 11 with 41 points. And Vegas had 19. And now Vegas has 50?
Mm-hmm.
A 31-point swing with 2 matches to go? That is insane to me.
Yeah, they've certainly done a fantastic job over there. Obviously, Joey Batts coming in, buying the team, putting some money into it, making it a legitimate club. It's not just some millionaires plaything anymore. They've been dangerous all season long, and like you said, I wouldn't want to face them in the playoffs. So
yeah,
I wouldn't mind their success, but I really want to see Asante lose. That's my favorite.
I just saw the goal in the U.S. Mexico match.
Oh.
Free kick took a deflection off the wall, like off of Zimmerman's head, and past Matt Turner. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible luck. Yeah. So let's take a quick look at Orange County this weekend. 2 matches to go. Last road trip of the season. United obviously closes the season at home next weekend. Orange County fighting for their playoff lives. We talked about the need to get healthy. We've talked about the need to get some form. We've talked about trying to finish the season strong. Obviously, being on the road has not been great for us this year. But what happens on Saturday? Are we able to stop the run that Orange County has been on over the past 5 weeks? Earl, let's start with you.
You might have to ask that question again, Seth.
That's a terrible way to start a conversation. No, I think we're able to stop Orange County's run. Even with our subs, I still think we are miles better than Orange County. And I think if we get back to playing quill ball the way we were and letting our bench actually play that kind of ball with each other and not coming in as sub and playing one here, one there, having a majority subs coming, that's my prediction, is going to be a lot of subs playing a lot of minutes these next couple games. I still think, even with all the subs that we have playing, I still think we are way better than Orange County. And I think, like I was saying, if we can get back to playing quill ball and let them adjust to quill ball, I don't think Orange County can stop any of our players on their best day.
Interesting. So they are on a little bit of a hot streak. They've won 3 of their last 5, drew the other 2. But if you look right before that, August 31st, lose to Las Vegas, get absolutely wrecked by Battery 6-0, lose to El Paso 1-0, draw, loss, going back to July. So it's been this consistently inconsistent, as with everybody else. They're on a hot streak right now, but they really needed that hot streak because they were on a really cold streak before that. And so just back and forth. This is a team that I think we put together our best match of the season against them right before the LAFC match. And so that was probably the highlight of the year. We really, really controlled that match, really took it to them. And so I think if we can kind of regain that form, if we're going to regain that form, I think it's against a team like Orange County, who I'm not going to go as far as say that they can't guard any of our players whatsoever. But I think we do match up well against them. And if they want to try to get out an attack.
So let me clarify real quick.
Okay.
Because what I meant was
you meant you don't want Saudi Arabia to bomb us after all. That's what you want to clarify.
It all depends.
Just go ahead.
Come back to me if we make an early exit on playoffs, and then I might talk about Saudi Arabia again.
Okay.
So if we Dallas Cowboys the playoffs this year, then yes, I will definitely think about Saudi Arabia and Iran again. But what I meant was if we play quill ball, I don't think our subs can match up with us on their best day playing quill ball with our subs.
Gotcha. So my point still stands. I won't go as far as Earl's saying, but we do match up well against them. I think we have a good chance to find a good match here. The fact that it's on the road doesn't, I mean, it worries me, but not to a great degree. We haven't been great on the road, but I want to say we have one of the top 5 road records in the league. They were talking about that against, who was it? I saw it somewhere. In fact, I think I saw it on the news and notes thing, and we were 5 or 6 as far as points on the road so far. So great, no, but not nearly as terrible as we've been in the past at times. And so I think we can do good. It's really just a matter of, to me, it's a matter of how seriously we take it. Are we going to come out looking to save our legs and rotate squad and get some players in there that we haven't really seen or seen a lot of anyways? Or are we going to kind of come out firing on all cylinders because we're mad about how the last 2 matches have gone? I think we can come out with a heavily rotated squad, and maybe those guys are even hungrier than the quote unquote first teamers that we've been playing. And who knows? I don't know. I think we're going to have a heavily rotated squad. I don't think it's going to go super well for us, but I think we still get a point out of it.
Christina, is there anybody that you want to see, anybody that you want to keep an eye on here in this match and even in the last 2 to see what kind of form they're in for the postseason?
Like I mentioned before, I was happy to see Nicky on. I really like Nicky, and he just hasn't been getting a whole lot of minutes. So I'd like to see him continue to get some minutes and kind of get back into the swing of things and see how he does. I enjoy Kalen and Maples in the back together, but I feel like we were in winning form when it was Herbert and Maples are the back together. So I feel kind of torn there. Did Herbert play on Saturday?
Don't think so.
I feel like he hasn't really been.
I want to say yes, he made an appearance.
Okay. I feel like we haven't seen him a whole lot. Whether that's injury or rotation or I don't know. Like it seems like he just lost his spot to Kalen. So I'd like to see Herbert playing some more again. I'm excited for Zico to come back.
He came on in the 86th minute, just so you know.
Okay.
So barely made an appearance.
Barely. Yeah, so I'd like to see him back to I just feel like we were seeing results and getting we were more likely with clean sheets when it was Herbert and Maples back there together. They seem to just play off of each other really well.
That they do. All right. Score predictions for Saturday against Orange County. I'd start with Earl, but now he's eating.
2-2. I'll say 2-2. I think we see a heavily rotated squad, but those guys are kind of hungry. I'm a little nervous now without Astorga, because Abdi's already out as well. That back line is a little thin. I don't know. I think Herbert probably gets a go. Maybe we see Herbert and Ryden. I don't know if we've seen that combination. I think we've seen it once. No, I don't know, because that was Seymour that was in for Maples, the one game that I'm thinking of. So maybe we see Ryden and Herbert and give Maples. I wouldn't mind Maples getting a chance to get a breather in these last two games because they have. We've kind of run him into the ground. So he's still performing. Don't get me wrong. He's still lights out, but to be rested and for sure healthy for the playoffs, I wouldn't mind seeing him get a little bit of a break. I think we still score. I think Reyes even gets on the board again. That's not talking shit to Earl. I just think he's like the one guy that, like, I'll put it this way. If he would have had some of the chances that Rivas has had this season, he's finishing those.
Yeah.
As opposed to, or at least putting him on frame, as opposed to what Rivas has done as far as finishing. Rivas has come a long way. I bagged on him a lot earlier in the year. He has come a long way, but what has not come with him is his finishing form. And so, I think Reyes is probably our most capable finisher outside of Hurst and Bruce, and maybe even better than a couple or one or both of them. One thing that I do miss that I really think really stood out to me in the Tulsa first half was I think Bruce needs to start at least one more match going into the postseason, and probably in the postseason. And that's not necessarily in place of Hurst, but he just brings such chaos and annoyance to the pitch that I think if we can start off with that in the first half, like I think him playing underneath Hurst with Akale and Reyes on the wings, because I think Flanagan's probably going to move back to a right back or left back opposite of Gloucester. It's probably right back because Gloucester usually plays on the left because of the injuries. And so, or you'll see Harry back there. But either way, that's going to open up a wing spot for Reyes to kind of step in and fill. And so that's what I would like to see. I'd like to see a couple weird combinations maybe going through these last two games, or at least on Saturday against Orange County. And keep in mind, Orange County does play Wednesday, so they will be they will be coming off of a match on Wednesday. So who knows? Are you going to bed, Tinky? All right. Say bye. Say bye-bye.
Night night.
No? Okay, give me a lift. Hug. Thank you.
Best fifth chair in the business.
Love you. Go sleep.
All right, so Jacob says 2-2. Christina, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go, as boring as this answer is, I'm going to go 1-1. I agree with Jacob that I don't think we're going to get a clean sheet. But I also don't think we're going to go on this like major scoring spree either. As much as I would love for us to. So I think the logical would be a 1-1.
Earl?
Let me think about this. So I was actually gonna pull the David Carl move and not make a prediction, but then I got to thinking about it, and I was looking at my Twizzlers and decided that Twizzlers sound like 2-0.
Are you having a stroke right now, Earl? Are you okay? What is happening over there?
Let me think about it. I mean, I was looking at my Twizzlers.
I hear weird noises. You're talking about Twizzlers.
Earl's gonna start dancing here in a second.
So 2-0.
So,
Is
you know,
that what you're going with?
2-0 because it sounds like Twizzlers, and that's what I've been eating for the past couple minutes.
I'm glad you just said couple minutes because I thought you were going to say couple weeks, and I was like, Earl, that's not good, bro.
Well, I mean, if you go to Love's and you have the Love's app, as long as you spend $1, you get a free share-sized bag of M&Ms.
Oh.
Loves, if you're listening, Earl is pandering for a
Also-
sponsorship.
Also, if you have that same said Love's app, if you buy one, my camera's up here again, one Ghost energy drink, any flavor, you can also get a free
We don't do free ads on this damn
free
show.
grape flavor. But anyways, this show, like I said, is brought to you by these guys. And that is my score prediction being 2-0.
Okay.
So the good guys? 2-0 to the good guys?
We're not sure yet.
Someone's going to have score 2.
I mean, let's just put it this way. I did say a while back that we would not be getting another clean sheet.
Why is there ominous music playing behind you?
I don't think that's ominous. I think that's Friday Night Lights.
Oh, it could be.
It's actually the Write That Down guy off of TikTok. He's inspired me a lot, you know. There's 5 keys. there's I haven't done this in a while. You have to give me a break. There's 5 keys to a happy marriage. This is for the guys listening. This is Earl's free marriage advice coming from the guy who's been divorced twice. Dang, that freaking rhymed. That was good. Anyways.
Never mind. I'm the one who's having a stroke. That's what's going on.
I'm just kidding. I can't. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Whatever.
It's not like the
No, I'm
podcast is going to hear you anyways. So
they might.
All right, so let's hear Seth's prediction.
thank you, Christina. Thank you.
Christina, you say 1-1 is boring. However, I raise you one more and say 0-0 is even far more boring. If you ever get in a conversation with Ken Sickinger and myself, we will tell you that writing about a 0-0 game is the worst thing in the world to ever try to do. It's really, really bad. But that's not going to happen on Saturday. 1-0 United on the road.
I was going to say, there's no way it's 0-0. I
No.
didn't know where you were going with that.
No. So there we go. 2-2, 1-1. Earl says 2-0 to somebody. 1-0 United.
So I'm assuming Earl meant 2-0 us. But if you rewind this podcast, an hour or so, he says we'll never get a clean. We aren't going to get a clean sheet the rest of the season. So, little contradictory there, unless he's talking about 2-0 Orange County, which in that case, bloop. So yeah, good times. Good times. What's really okay? Again, if we go back to the beginning of the season, and you tell me that on October 15th, with 2 matches to go, we have clinched the 1 seed, and the podcast is not us like shooting off cannons and celebrating like crazy, I would think you were crazy. But alas, we're here. We've gone an hour and 15 minutes, and the mood has been albeit normal. It has definitely not been any more exciting than usual, which saddens me. And so I don't really have anything that I can do to kind of make that better. Other than, oh no, is it not here? No. Oh, here we go. Ready?
It's Freighter! It's Freighter!
Oh, I love that sound bite.
It's Freighter!
That's like a core memory for me. Like all
Right?
the beer showers and
Yes.
man,
It was
good
definitely
times.
definitely a highlight of year one, which I think says a lot about year one as a whole. Because I think that match, like, we're going to go down memory lane for just a second here. That match really summarized our 2019 season. Like, started off hot, we were up 2-0. Then all of a sudden we're losing, and then we come back, we still make the playoffs. The playoffs are another story altogether. But yeah, that was a good microcosm of the season in one 90+ minute match that ended with
It's Freighter! It's Freighter!
and so yeah,
Best sound bite for sure.
it's great. It's way better than that same year when Bruce scored against Sacramento in the regular season.
Oh, and they're like, Bruce
Wow.
scores.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a banger. Yeah. Oh, they're the worst announcers.
Yeah.
I'm
Speaking,
proud of us also. I want to say we have a positive goal differential.
We do. Not
There
by
was a
much.
while where I
Not by
was
much.
wondering if we were going to maybe clinch first with 0.
Yeah, it's still not great. And then like the nerd side of me is worried about that because typically in most sports, I don't know how true it holds necessarily with soccer, but in most sports, your point differential is way more of an indicator of like how good of a team you really are. And I feel like in my 5+ years of following soccer religiously now, that holds true for soccer too. So that kind of worries me. But then I look at like what Phoenix did last year and what Real Monarchs did the year in 2019 and stuff like that. And it's like you don't have to be the best team to win the cup. I think winning the West, while I don't think it comes with a trophy, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's just the Players' Shield that comes with a trophy. Not 100% sure, but I'll have to check that out. It is still a huge accomplishment, and to do it this early, pretty cool for sure. And so just want to take a minute to shout out the turnaround that we've had. I mean, what Quill has done, taking us from having to win our last 3 matches last year to get into the playoffs to not having to sweat anything out. I mean, even when we lost to Sacramento, it was like, okay, we lost to Sacramento. We're still probably going to win the 1 seed. And it would take like an epic collapse for that to happen. And luckily we don't have to worry about that anymore. We can just go into these last 2 matches and be able to rest players and do whatever the hell we want and not have to worry about seeding and matchups and getting in and all this crap. It's very nice. I think it's only the second time that we've made the playoffs and not clinched on the very last night. And so that is really nice. It's the 1 seed. We get to host our first playoff match November 3rd. If you haven't already, go buy your tickets. And then if we keep winning, we keep getting to host. That is for sure. That's guaranteed. It doesn't matter until the final. And even then, it would take the number 1 seed out in the East to get to the final to have us leave New Mexico. And so there's huge shout out to Itamar, Peter, Quill, not Peter Quill, not Star-Lord, but Peter, Quill, and just the whole United organization as a whole. And man, I even as bummer as a sad way as it is with the Astorga penalty or injury, losing to Phoenix, only drawing to Tulsa. Like we've come a long way, and I don't expect us to go one and done in the postseason, especially playing at home. So huge shout out there.
We've had a long stretch of being number one and everybody else throwing their best at us. And we might not have been, winning every match, but we've been holding our own for the most part.
Well, and we talk about like the fire that you have. Like we came into the postseason last year hot because we had to. Like we had to win those games to get in. And so I know Quill wants better. Quill was as heated as I've ever seen Quill at a presser after the Phoenix match. He was pissed, like for sure. And so I get that coming from Quill, but also like when a team is playing for their postseason lives, sometimes you just can't match that intensity when you've already basically clinched or you're already out or whatever the case may be. And so I'm not freaking out about that whatsoever, and probably won't until the postseason. And if we come out, I know Josh, he hasn't been in the chat today, but I know our buddy Josh Gonzalez has definitely been a little concerned about the one and done potential, without thinking the sky is falling. I'm not saying he's one of those, but and he brings up some good points. Like you could play that game against Tulsa, go to penalties and lose rather easily. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be going to penalties with the way we've shot penalties. So
we've got Maples, and that's kind of it.
and maybe Vargas, from what I've seen before he came here. And then after that, it's who knows. I will also say that there was some contention when Maples went up there. Reyes wanted it, which I was happy to see that somebody else wanted it. But Maples ended up, Ryden was like, no, let Maples shoot it. He said John, which I was like, who the hell's John? And then I was like, oh yeah, Maples. And so there at least was somebody else that wanted to shoot it. And so, yeah, just get excited. Like, be excited. It's a good thing. We clinched the West. It's not a small feat. Even though the West has been weird this year, it is not a small feat whatsoever, especially from where we were last year. And with, what was it? 20 new faces, basically?
Yeah.
It's about, like, it's just, as far as, like, from Quill, when Quill started, because I know Zico and Reyes were with us last year, but just for the time when Quill was here. So just crazy what we have seen. And I hate that people are taking it for granted. So, and I'm even doing that a little bit myself. So I got to try not to take it for granted and bask in the fact that we get to host a playoff game and we're the 1 seed. So yeah, just let's to the people listening, let's try not to forget that for sure. And most of you guys,
I want our guys to have 10, 11,000 people again, 12,000 people. Like I want butts in seats. I want it loud. They've earned the respect of the fans to really show up for them.
For sure. And I do think that first round playoff game anyways should get there. It should get to that 11, 12, 13,000. I don't know. After the season, we could probably have a longer conversation about attendance, and especially when we know kind of what those attendance numbers are for the playoffs, we can kind of figure out what we think is going on there and the way we're trending and stuff. But as of right now, the team is playing great, and like Christina said, it deserves to have a packed house on the 26th and the 3rd and any other matches after that. So be sure, if you're listening and you don't have tickets, to go get those tickets for sure.
Yep, absolutely. So I don't have anything else to add. We covered a lot tonight, a lot of great conversation. Anybody have anything else to add before Jacob gets us out of here?
Yeah, I got one thing.
I didn't do it this time. I didn't do it this time. I promise. It was not me.
It kind of piggybacks off what you're saying, is that the attendance has slumped even though we've been in first place. But really, listen. Did you know that giraffes are more prone to be struck by lightning than humans? That's really all I
Logical.
had. Good night.
So being up there at the top is dangerous. Is that what you're saying?
One of my favorite memes is the man and wife, or the man and woman laying in bed, and the woman saying he's probably thinking about another woman, and then the guy's thinking, wonder how long it takes a giraffe to throw up. That was the first thing that came to. I thought for sure when Earl said giraffe, it was going to have to do with throwing up, but he disappointed me with the fact that it just makes logical sense. And so,
It's not the first person I've disappointed. Just ask Marlena.
I mean, it's not the first time you've disappointed me either, Earl. Let's be real.
Or-
The Saudi Arabia thing disappointed me way worse.
We're
Right.
tipping into Somos Moss After Dark.
Yes. I have an idea I'm going to talk to you guys about after we go live.
That
finish
worries
going
me.
live. Oh yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Don't worry. Mama Christina, Justin, I need your real name, Mute. I'm just going to call you Mute from now on. Harry was in here for like a hot second. Thank you guys in the chat. Thank you everybody watching. Thank you everybody that listens. If you're listening to the podcast, you're probably not going to hear much of Oral's voice. Don't worry. He'll be figuring it out. I thought you were supposed to have better Wi-Fi this week, Earl, but apparently that's on hold when you live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, those people that live out closer to you, those plateau people, they had to come do some permitting and fun nonsense to get us fiber optic.
Oh,
So eventually, the master of terrible Wi-Fi and audio will
just be the master of terrible.
the master. Exactly. It'll be a master debater.
That does make me feel better that you're getting Plateau though, because Plateau fiber optic is fantastic. So we only have to listen to robotic spotty Earl for hopefully a few more weeks, if that.
You know, I will say
Hopefully
if Earl gets fiber optic internet out there before Albuquerque does, that's a problem.
Well, I have it. I've had it for the whole time I've been out here in Fort Sumner, and so to those of you, Seth and Earl, that always make fun of me for living in the middle of nowhere, ha! Joke's on you.
Sir, I too live in the middle of nowhere.
Now you do, but you used to make fun of me when you lived outside of the city and I lived way out here. And yet, who's laughing now? Well, Earl's probably laughing. We just can't hear him because it was terrible Wi-Fi. Thank you guys so much. If you're listening to the podcast, rate and review us. Don't rate us poorly just because Earl's bad audio quality, please.
Yeah, but you can rate us poorly for Earl's bad audio takes, such as, did you know that John Quincy Adams had a pet alligator?
Lies.
Anyways, Shadow Wolf, I'm a little disappointed. I tagged you. You haven't commented on it at all. I know you listen to this because
How dare Shadow Wolf be sleeping at 3 a.m.
I know, right? How dare he? But anyways, thank you guys so much. We'll be back next week. Remember, we already locked up the 1 seed. There's really nothing on the line, but we do play Orange County. And maybe next week we have a little clearer picture of the playoff race. Who knows? It might just be a bunch of draws and we're still right where we are now. I don't know. But tune in again next Tuesday where we talk about that and obviously a lot more. And we're about at the 90-minute mark, which is coincidentally how long a soccer game takes. So I'm going to sit here for another 40 seconds or so till we... No, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys. Love you. Almost News.